You know, it's very difficult to actually come up with something to say about these movies because you watch him and you walk out of the theater and you think, how could this possibly get any more ridiculous? And then Justin Lin gets drunk and says, hold my nitrous. That's right, today we're looking at Fast and Furious 9, or Furious 9, Fast 9, I don't know what they're called, guys. So we pick up in 1989. Jack Toretto is racing in kind of like this discount NASCAR, and it turns out he dies. And that's pretty much it. It doesn't take up a whole lot of time. It just goes right into it. And now I don't actually consider this a spoiler because it happens within the first 3 minutes of the movie. But this is where you actually see Dominic and Jacob as brothers, as children. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the past 6 weeks, everybody already knows that Jacob is Dominic's brother, and he's a super spy, he's a badass, and I just think, like, what are the odds of that happening, that they're both, like, super spies? You know, why couldn't Jacob just, like... And this is where it just gets so fast and furious because it's so ridiculous. So, J.D. Pardo is driving down the track, and there's this guy that just kind of hits him in the corner of his vehicle. So naturally, the car just spins, and then he plays, I guess you would call it like a game of chicken with another driver. And this is the part where you say, okay, well, you know, they're going to crash. There's going to be some damage. But no, he hits the car, and it actually flies off and just spins in a wheel of fire in the fence right next to the racetrack. But then again, you kind of expect that in a movie like this. After that, we pick up present day after the events of Fate of the Furious. They destroyed the submarine, they defeated Cypher, and basically Dom and Letty are now living in a life of retirement. They have this farm really far away from civilization. They kind of left the crew. They're not thinking about going back, and Dom has a child, as we already know from the events of Fate. The crew comes back and recruits them for yet another mission, yet one last ride. So Tej, Roman, and Ramsey, which is a hacker chick, they come over to Dom and Letty's farm and pretty much show them a video of Mr. Nobody's plane being hijacked by a rogue agent. Now, unless you have an IQ of 4, you know it's Jacob. There is an artifact that needs to be recovered by the crew in order to once again save the world. Letty, you can kind of tell that she's not actually happy with the life that they're living. She misses the action. She wants to go back out there. She wants to drive fast cars and take down whatever it is that they take down. She misses that life, but Dom doesn't want to. At first, he's reluctant, but afterwards, the crew leaves, and surprise, surprise, Dom shows up, and they're ready to go towards the mission. And they have to prevent Jacob and his benefactor from getting a hold of what is Ares. So Ares is basically like the God's Eye on steroids. It's basically this sphere that pretty much can control any single network that's run on code. The team has to rescue yet another thing to prevent yet another global collapse by yet another familiar character that is somehow related to the crew from the beginning. Now, I gotta say, I didn't walk into this movie actually expecting anything other than a Fast and Furious movie. If you walk in here expecting reason, expecting character development, expecting any kind of emotional impact, you have already failed. Now, I didn't come in here with a lot of expectations, but I do gotta say, every single time I watch these movies, I think, well, how could this possibly be any crazier? And it gets crazier. It's just so utterly insane. Now, going back to what I said about calling this movie Furious 9, I gotta say, one of my disappointments is you don't actually see that many cars. It's not so fast. Now, if you actually go back and look at the trailers, you will actually see every single car that's in the movie. It's all just spy shit and guns and hand-to-hand combat, and it's not fast anymore. You do get a lot of flashbacks, though. Now, regarding to the flashbacks, there is a lot of them, and I personally thought they were dull. They took me out of the movie. They just made me see Michael from Peaky Blinders, and I could not get out of seeing Michael from Peaky Blinders. They did not do an absolute thing for me. And then halfway through the movie, you realize that long-lost Han is actually back. Now, again, this is not a spoiler because this was revealed, I think, ever since the first trailer. We all know that Han is back. He's got a haircut, but I don't know, he just felt like a completely different character to me. Like, you know Han from the previous movies, Tokyo Drift, Fast 5, even the 6th one I believe he's in, and I think he dies in the 6th one. So he dies in between the 6th and 7th movie, which curiously takes place in Tokyo Drift, so it's kind of like a little messed up timeline. But Han is back, and it just feels like a completely different character because, you know, Han, he used to eat a lot of chips because he was a smoker, so he kind of needed contact with his mouth. That doesn't happen anymore. It only happens when you're actually introduced to him, but you don't see that. You know, he's got a haircut and he speaks like a completely different person. He acts like a completely different person, yet somehow giving some bullshit explanation as to why he's alive. But, you know, he's alive. Now, going back to the trailers a little bit, I do have to share that I was a little bit let down because, like I said, every single major action scene is in the trailers. Jacob being Dom's brother is in the trailers. Han coming back from the dead is in the trailer. There is nothing that you can see from this movie that you have not seen in the trailer, except I think for the flashbacks. And that did nothing for the movie. Now, I do understand these Fast and Furious movies are out there. That's their job. That's what they're meant to do. They're supposed to be ridiculous. They're supposed to be ludicrous. No pun intended. They're supposed to be something that you walk out of and say, I forgot about everything for 2 hours. Now let's get back to the regular world. However, I was completely taken out of the movie just seeing every single scene and thinking, wow, that is not how that would have happened in real life. Just kind of didn't do it for me. Now, if you do walk into a theater not expecting a thing, you will actually enjoy Fast and Furious. If you like previous Fast and Furious movies, you will enjoy this one. They do get progressively crazier. Now, I will go over some spoilers. They're not major because, like I said, everything is already in the trailers. But if you want to know nothing about this movie when you walk into it, this is going to be your spoiler warning right here. Now, I gotta say, I did have a lot of fun in the Where's Waldo segment of the movie, and that's what I call the cameos. Pretty much, you get Cardi B, you get Ozuna, you get the guys from Tokyo Drift. Now, you don't just get the guy from Tokyo Drift. My God, I can't remember his name. But you actually get Bow Wow, you get like the entire cast. This movie wasn't all terrible. I did enjoy the Han and Tokyo Drift kind of cast reunion because there is that in the movie. I thought that was pretty interesting. However, when Han actually comes back to life and the crew kind of sees him again, they're just like classic Han, and that's it. That's the only reaction you get. Your long lost friend comes back from the dead and you're just like, oh, like no, it just kind of didn't do that for me. So in a nutshell, I did enjoy this movie from the perspective that I just walked in there and forgot about the world for a couple of hours. It did that for me. However, if you try to find any logic, character development in this movie, you're not going to find it and you will be disappointed. However, I'm going to give Furious 9 a 4. I mean, I can't lie. I really did have a good time. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Have you already seen Fast and Furious 9? Are you planning to watch it? Did this review help you if you are going to watch it? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay posted on my social media for the next video that you want to see. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys decide what movie we're going to review next, and we'll have that up next week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Fear this glass, it's basically this, you know, big, what is the timeline again? So he dies in between the 6th and 7th movie.